Okay, let's start the show.
It's February 6th, 2014. Welcome to This Is Only a Test.
That was completely off.
The official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith, and apparently I've just gotten used to saying it's 2014 in January in time for it to be February in 2014. Norm Chan's here.
Something's never changed.
How are you doing, Norm?
There's some debate online about the proper way to pronounce the second month of the year.
You mean February versus February?
Yes.
I was going to say it's definitely the hardest to spell.
David Snyder is here. It's the Wednesday of the months.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
They're mixed up, the syllables.
Yes.
I don't even know.
And February.
So
February.
That's
Feb-
nuclear.
Get rid of the R.
Did you see the thing over like in December that the New York Times did where you answered your regional pronunciations for different things?
Crawfish.
And then they told you where you live?
Yeah, crawfish.
Crawdad.
It was actually crawdad for me.
Not
Really?
accurate.
In Maryland?
So mine got all messed up because my parents are from Ohio.
Oh.
So I both pinged the charts as from being Northern Virginia and Ohio.
Yeah, I had Tennessee and Northern California.
Yeah.
You are the melting pot.
Yeah. We're America.
There's nothing more
should be a song that goes
American
along with that.
than America.
It's like the Olympic start. We are America.
This isn't a podcast where we do a lot of post-production, music tie-ins and drop-overs or any of that nonsense. This is just straight content all the way through start to finish.
Just the words.
Just the words. And
Spoken.
Occasionally we do things like this.
That is ominous. That scares the hell out of me.
Yeah. We also have this one.
That just makes me feel like I'm going through a video game maze.
That signifies the transition from one segment to another.
Okay, like get away from that last segment.
Yeah, no, back off.
It's chasing you down.
Bad
But once the
news.
level loads, you'll be safe.
Is that the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
And until the increased memory happened.
When MMOs got open world and there was no load level, like I felt like the best parts of early MMOs, like EverQuest, were when you would get you fucked up really bad and you were like, if I can make it to the zone edge, everything's cool because it's a complete reset. Sure, you would destroy everyone along the path from where you were to where the edge of the zone was.
I got it.
But it's fine.
Slide, guys. Got to slide.
Yeah, it's time to run. What you guys do? Let's see. Big game happened this weekend.
Super Bowl?
I don't think we're allowed to say that.
Super Bowl?
You mean the big game? The super duper big.
I didn't watch it.
Really?
I don't have television in my house.
I've
I've got TV.
So
I'm a
call
Netflix.
us hipsters.
I've cut it.
If
I'm
you
out.
wanna-
It's
if you-
out of there.
If you want to know what a hipster looks like, it's Captain Ironic Sweater over there.
What am I gonna? What do you mean ironic?
They let you stream it this year online.
It's a regular sweater. It looks perfectly fine.
You had your hat on backwards yesterday.
That was for comfort.
500,000 people streamed it.
Really?
online.
Did you have to pay?
No, it's free.
I didn't even know you could stream it.
Wow.
I like
They made a
football
big deal.
too. I just
Yeah. You're a football guy.
yeah.
It kind of wasn't a great Super Bowl year.
Yeah, I hear I didn't miss anything.
I made some real good guacamole. I used Evan's recipe. Oh, congratulations, by the way, to friend of Tested, Evan Lottie, for his ascension to editor-in-chief of PC Gamer.
Hey,
Nice job, Evan. Yeah,
hey,
good job.
You got important friends.
I remember when he was fresh-faced and brand new.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like 3 years ago, maybe 5. Seems like a long time ago. More than that, wasn't it? 7? When did he start?
I'm going to let you continue.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, Evan's a great dude and do a really good job. What are we going to talk about this week? Did anything happen? It's like
You said the big game happened?
a big game. We watched some football. Made some guacamole. What was your eating strategy? Did you guys get wings as you tend to on?
No, I went to a friend's
Big
place and had
activities?
IKEA meatballs.
IKEA meatballs?
What? The
IKEA
Slorns or something?
meatballs. I don't know what the name was.
They've got a name. It's
The Fuego.
weird.
Without the gravy, without the lingonberry.
What?
No lingonberry, but made bruschetta to accompany with.
So I went to IKEA. I had never had. Last time we talked about the IKEA meatballs, I had never had them. Call me crazy, but furniture store food scares me.
They're how much are they?
They're very cheap.
Yeah, they're super cheap.
A dozen for like $3 or something, and then
you should put them in
pay
your pocket.
You
and
pay
take 'em
$1
out.
and you get 5 more.
So, okay. So
Always get the 5 more.
we had to go to IKEA when we were getting baby furniture, because we bought the crib at IKEA. The IKEA, in case you are unaware, like cribs are fraught with danger, and it's a good way. You can easily they're scary. You're not supposed to do drop sides. You're not supposed to have. It's not supposed to be too convertible. If it has the wrong size mattress, it can have it choking. If it has bumpers, that's really bad. There's all sorts of stuff you're not supposed to put in cribs.
Wow.
So we just went to IKEA and got the it's like $100 crib, which is pretty much the cheapest crib you can buy,
But still within these guidelines.
and it's because it's simple that it's the highest safety rating one.
Wasn't making a crib back in the day like your official passage into adulthood, into being a craftsman?
Well, my father made
Out of wicker. Just make that bassinet.
yeah, my father made bassinet for that my sister
Float
and I
the child
used.
down the river. Be like,
Moses?
later, kid, you're out of here.
You have a destiny.
Who is it that got floated down the river? Was it Moses,
Moses.
or Ben-Hur?
No, it was Moses.
Sure, it wasn't Ben-Hur too.
No,
Seems like something
It
Ben-Hur.
was
Ben-Hur
also
took over the
the
NRA.
penguin.
Oh right, the
Yeah.
penguin. The penguin was Moses. He's the Moses of Batman.
The penguin. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That was horrible.
that movie's great.
No, it's terrible.
Oh, you're making me sad.
Second Batman.
Second Batman's great.
It's no Prince.
Second Batman is really good. Michelle Pfeiffer at her peak.
I don't know. She Fabulous
Baker Boys is also acceptable.
That'd be yeah, there you go.
We'll also take that as an answer.
Okay.
I don't think the meatballs have a name. I'm looking at their site right now.
Maybe it's just meat
Oh
bowl.
no, Cote Buller. It has the O with the 2 dots.
Is
over
that the frozen variety of the meatball, or is that the Swedish word for meatballs?
It's in a bag. They have gratin potatoes, which I assume are potatoes
the mashed
gratin.
potatoes.
No, they're the cheesy slices. Yeah, it looks like these are all called Cote Buller.
IKEA meatballs are delicious.
I think you are the grossest people ever if you're eating out of an IKEA. It's horrible.
I tend to
If
agree
you
with
eat
Dave.
lunch at IKEA, you're a bad person? I disagree.
It is scary.
We ate them when we were there getting the crib, and I immediately regretted the decision because it's like 45 minutes back to the house.
But you go through the maze. They make
Yes.
you go through the maze, and then it's like
there
your
are
reward.
shortcuts. There are shortcuts.
You get the reward of like, here you go. Here is a bunch of.
But you know that if you walk into an
Shitty frozen
IKEA,
meatballs.
you can take the immediate left and not even start the maze. It's like the whistle in Mario 3, where you get the whistle
Yeah.
and you jump level. All you gotta do is make the left, and you end up at the food court, which is technically only halfway through the maze. The food court is, for most IKEAs, the end of the second floor, the first part of the maze.
But the first
You go
floor
to
is
the
just
food court.
accessories and stuff.
It's perfectly valid. A lot of big furniture stuff, and then you do the whole maze again in the first floor. After which there is the bonus food court, which is like snacks and desserts and all your cinnamon rolls and 2 for $1 hot dogs.
My family had you know how each family has like their family rules or their family sayings.
Never eat food in a Swedish furniture company.
Yeah.
It's very specific, Dave.
My mother was Italian, so her big thing was you don't eat meatballs outside of the house.
Really?
Any sort of meatballs.
You don't eat
And
other people's meatballs?
The rule was you never know what's in them.
Well, you know
Which
what
could
they
be
had.
said for anything, and I never understood why it was just for meatballs. Like sausages were okay.
Here's the thing about ground meat is if you don't take care of your meat grinder, it can be a source of disaster and heartache, right? You can make yourself really sick with a dirty meat grinder.
Yes.
Sounds true.
But
Yes.
IKEA had a horse meat problem, didn't they? Didn't they have a horse scare?
Man, this is already
Horse meatballs?
It's just making me sick.
Are you a
just
beef
thinking
meatball
about
guy, or
them.
do you put pork and veal and stuff in your meatballs?
I get Italian sausage.
Okay.
I split them open.
Yeah.
And then I throw that in with the beef in a
Sweet Italian or
two-
spicy Italian?
spicy Italian.
yeah.
So
Mix and match.
yeah, so 2 pounds beef and 1 pound of Italian sausage together.
Where do you stand on turkey meatballs?
I don't believe in any of the inferior meats that
No
are like
poultry.
downgrade healthy meats. I don't
Okay.
believe in it.
So,
So-
about boar?
Yeah, I don't even. Maybe if you killed it with a knife And
Like
you
you
like
hunted
bloodied
yourself?
With a real,
you
like,
bloodied-
dull knife.
Yeah, you bloodied your first child by like putting 2 fingers of blood across
What
their
the fuck
forehead.
is this?
Then,
Like,
then they are okay.
Then you
ordain
can
the meat
eat- Yeah.
Wow.
to be consumed in meatball form.
You have to Snyder the meat.
You
Is,
smoke the jerky under some homemade cabana.
Is IKEA there? I don't know if it's lunch or dinner. I guess some people eat it for either lunch or dinner. Maybe not breakfast.
I've seen people have brunch at IKEA before.
Brunch, IKEA brunch. Is IKEA food court better or worse than Costco in your opinion? Then
Oh, better.
Oh, I would. The Costco's got pizza.
You can
Costco's
get
great
and
pizza.
I'm gonna as kind of a soft serve connoisseur, the Costco soft serve ice cream is high on the list.
it's the very berry sundae.
The Very Berry Sundae is a delicious
You
sundae.
ask for more berry.
I've never tried it.
You should try the Very Berry. It's highly recommended.
It's the same premise though, of like, hey, you just spent. I think it's almost better in Costco's sense because you've already spent your money at Costco. You've come out of the.
Oh no, you're doing the wrong order. Costco, you go in and you strengthen yourself. You strengthen your resolve by eating before you go in.
I would pass out on lane 3. Like
That's why they have the
Man,
samples.
You can't have all that. You can't have be.
That's why the citizens of the senior community are there working the sample.
The
carts.
white people dim sum is what I think I've heard that called before.
Never heard it called like that.
There was an article on the internet the other day.
Wow.
It's
Profoundly racist.
Profoundly racist. Yeah. The thing about Costco, I had to cancel Costco because I have poor impulse control. So you get into Costco and it's just like, oh, the monkey brain is just in full effect there. It's like, I like that. So I stopped.
Is there good tech deals
just
at
checked out.
Costco?
No.
Because they throw it up there in the beginning.
Yeah, in the old days, you'd go get your Xbox 360 there, and
a
as many
flat
times as it
screen,
red ring,
right?
Flat screen.
you would just take
Yeah.
it back.
The
Yeah.
Vizios were launched there.
Yeah.
But a lot of that stuff, I feel like the good deals are no longer there. I feel like the good deals are online now. I feel like the big box store is maybe
Costco still has the great return policy.
No, you can't take stuff back forever.
Not forever, but it's still
pretty
great.
good.
It's still a great return policy.
Yeah, that's true. Better than 30 days.
So don't do it, is what you're telling me.
I mean, I'm saying
Costco food court is
Costco's
I think
great.
It's great.
You don't have to be a member to use the Costco food court
You
either.
do not have to remember some Costco's.
That's super weird.
if it's
No.
inside the fence. Well, some people who work by Costco's, it was a big thing to go to Costco for lunch.
I can see that if you're there, but like driving to a Costco.
No, driving
like,
to a
what else
Costco.
you doing?
Norm and I
Just
have
for
driven
lunch.
to a Costco just to
pick
get
up
food.
the pizza.
You're like going to the Sports Authority next door.
No,
and
Nope.
they
picking
have
up
they have the
signature golf balls or
That'd be
something.
Great, but
Kirkland
no.
signature.
Yeah.
I had a friend who got kicked out of. He actually got brought back in the security room
Oh, you never go back in the back.
in a Sports Authority because they thought he was stealing, but he was just so OCD that he was opening up the golf ball packages and making it so that all the balls had the same number.
Wow. He
Is
needs
that
medication.
crazy?
That's great.
He should have been taken back somewhere.
And I knew him
And beaten.
I didn't witness this. I just knew that they took my like super like nice, would never do anything wrong, would never hurt a fly friend, like into the back room, and I had no idea why. And so I just sat outside and said, I made a makeshift sign that said there is too much authority at the Sports Authority.
Wow.
Was this Hardcore Dave days?
This is pre. Yeah,
pre,
this is
okay.
pre. This
It's the birth of Hardcore
That
Dave.
was like Milton.
Did you ever accidentally shoplift something when you were a kid and then have the remorse?
Accidentally shoplift.
Yeah, like sometimes
Wait, that's a memory rewrite.
No, it's not. It's like you have something, and I am really bad about absentmindedly picking up things and just putting it in my pocket. Like if I buy chapstick at the grocery store, oftentimes I will just be like, oh, chapstick, I'm going to use this. And if I don't put it in the cart,
I can't
if
use
I put it in my
anything
pocket
that
by
I buy.
accident.
No, I can't. There's already too much guilt on me. If I buy something at the store, I have to wait till I get to the finish line to use it.
Really?
If it's a soda or
Wait,
something,
wait.
like I got to take the soda to
Why don't
the
you eat
finish
grapes?
line.
Wait,
Like I
there's
would never
the-
eat something that's weighed at the checkout.
Are you saying that it's okay to in a store to if you intend to buy it to use something before you pay for
Of
it?
course.
Especially chapstick.
What?
That's gross.
There is
What?
strong intent to buy there.
No,
That is so gross.
That
Why
is-
not?
No, never.
What has changed with the chapstick?
Chapstick-
Between
No, what has
prior
changed
to
is
the church purchase and after
regardless
the
of
purchase?
intent, you have not purchased it yet. It does
I'm
not
going
belong
to
you.
purchase. It's
No,
not like
no one knows
how many
that.
times have you put something in
No
your
one
cart at the
knows
grocery
that.
store and then not bought it? Would you
Plenty
not
of
open a
times.
bottle of water if you bought a bottle of water at the grocery store?
I would not open it
No.
until I paid for
Yep.
it.
What about an ice cream? You go in there and you're like,
Nope.
oh, I'm going to have an ice cream
Pay
bar.
for it first.
What? And you've bought ice cream bars at the store
I've never
and
done
eaten
that
them
before,
in there?
actually. Like, I never
Like
do that.
opening up packaging and
Never
you
an ice
opened
cream
the
bar.
Basic
package?
premise which our capitalist society works, is that you pay for your goods and services.
Oh, here I got.
When I put it in the cart, there's an intent to purchase. It's clear.
The cart is a nebulous.
I've got
gray
one
area.
exception. There is an exception, which is you're allowed to eat one grape.
No,
No grapes.
no,
That's stealing. That's stealing because that's not. That doesn't. Those grapes are weighed.
That's true.
So that means you have stolen
Yes.
one grape
so
from
there you go. I
Safeway.
have unintentionally
Nice job,
stolen
Dave.
a grape.
I stole a Matchbox car once. The Kmart by our house had like loose Matchbox cars that had fallen off of the cards, and they would sell them for like 99 cents. So mom was like, you can get a couple of Matchbox cars if you want. So I picked up 2, and I put one in the cart, and I was playing with the other one while we were going through the store. I was probably 5 years old, and I think I put it in my jacket pocket, and I know which one it was to this day.
Did your mom make you return? Did you tell her?
No, I never told her.
You didn't tell
Nope,
her?
this is the first.
Oh,
it's
man.
out now. I think the statute of limitations is passed.
Bananas.
Yeah.
You could have your photo taken in the blacklist, grocery store blacklist.
Wait, really? They do that?
Yeah, by the cash register, right? Photos of
That's
here
just
are all the
convenience
kids.
stores.
Here are all the kids who are not no longer allowed in the store.
The convenience store by my house is next door to an elementary school, and the guy has like an extensive list of rules that the children have to follow. No more than 3 kids in the shop at a time. No backpacks, no bags, no suitcases, no jackets.
Totally fair.
Cigarettes cost $5
Right,
more.
right. Double price for
Go to the
cigarettes.
back
if you're under
door
18.
for the cigarettes.
Exactly.
I
If you
always
wanna-
like the
no scratchers.
No more than 3 kids at a time rule. Then someone determined at some point, once the 4th kid enters, then it's out of control.
They can do cover.
Then
They can run interference.
They've reached the perfect number to do a web of lies and deceit to steal.
Well, the thing that always
deception.
The thing that always made me anxious about those kinds of retail rules were when I was a kid, you'd pull up, get gas with your mom. Completely different set of kids. I have nothing to do with the little reprobates from wherever we happen to be. But she'd send me in to get, drinks or pay for gas or whatever. And I was like, do I have to wait? Do I have to get at the back of the line of these other kids, or can I just go straight in because I'm I'm outside of their social circle, not part of their tribe. Never established the rules there.
I read
back in line.
Yeah, weirdly about the retail stores, I read a great story about old boom boxes where they were talking about how they all had the equalizers and stuff.
Oh, those were great.
And so it was basically about the engineers that would program these things. And they said, who was the amazing engineer that decided that when they lost power for a certain period of time, that when you plug them in, they would instantly go into demo mode? And like how that was a genius thing that guy thought up. Because they had demo buttons on them.
Yeah.
But what he's saying is that, they turn the power off or whatever in the room, and you could never really trust that the retail sellers in the Radio Shacks of the day would actually make these things go back into demo mode. And at a certain point, somebody thought of, the great gimmick of if they've lost power for a certain amount of time, they should instantly return to demo
What's
mode.
demo mode? Is this like when the TV's
It's
on
when the
full brightness?
equalizer's
Dance.
bouncing,
Dance.
nothing's
Oh.
playing
Bouncing.
out of it, but
Gotcha.
It's
a
like
good
the
idea.
electronic keyboard where everyone plays play that one song button.
You play the loop.
because they sell themselves, Norm.
They do.
These products are amazing. Should we talk about technology news?
Tell me about it.
Meatballs.
Well,
IKEA meatballs.
the big game was on Sunday. No, I don't know. I got nothing.
Okay.
There were commercials.
The commercials weren't very good this year. It was a disappointing football game. It was disappointing commercials. What was your favorite commercial from the Super Bowl, Norm?
Doritos time travel.
Hold on, which one was that one?
Jimmy, you're so old.
Oh, that one was
It's
pretty
the
good.
future. It's the future.
That was pretty dumb, but it was pretty good. I liked the Seinfeld one. I thought that was
I
okay.
did not like the Seinfeld one. I thought it was a waste of the fake reunion. Also, the Full House one. The complete waste.
You didn't like the Full House one?
Nope.
I didn't recognize 2 of the 3 guys from Full House.
Which two?
The one
Dave
that wasn't.
Coulier?
Yeah, Dave Coulier and Bob Saget. Both of them looked really old.
Was he not wearing a hockey jersey?
He was not wearing a hockey jersey.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. He was also his gray hair. He didn't look jovial, and he didn't look like he'd just dumped Alanis Morissette, so I didn't recognize him. Snipers attacked a Silicon Valley power transmission station last year. Did you read this story?
No.
No, tell me.
This
about
is an
it.
amazing story. So the head of basically this story came out because the head of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission said, "Hey, this was the most significant incident of domestic terrorism involving the nation's power grid, and no one's been charged or arrested, and nobody's talked about it." He's no longer the chairman, but there's a PG&E substation south of San Jose And attackers came in, broke into an underground bunker to cut the telephone lines coming into and out of the facility, and then systematically shot 17 transformers. And not the transformers, but the cooling tanks for the oil.
Did he get Firebird?
Optimus.
I don't understand what you're talking. Oh,
Grimlock.
that was a pretty good ad.
Grimlock.
Was Marky Mark riding a dinosaur in that ad? Or was that
Optimus
Optimus Prime riding the dinosaur?
Did you not watch the ad?
I saw that, but like those Transformers movies, you can never tell what's going on. It goes too fast. That's how I know I'm old.
I would not confuse Marky Mark with. He is in the movie. Yes.
They kind of look the same.
with Optimus Prime.
Yeah, it's the same face. One's metal, one's flesh.
Tell me about the
don't judge
snipers. I
people.
want to know about these snipers.
So, okay. They took out the phone lines. This was about 1 a.m. on April 16th of last year. It's a power substation just a few yards from 101 south of San Jose. And they targeted the oil-filled cooling towers that keep the transformers cool. Because if you shoot a transformer, don't do this, by the way. It's really bad. You're going to get in trouble.
Comes with Decepticon.
But you know how Transformers, the Transformers are those cylindrical things that hang off at the side of power poles around the country.
Yeah.
And what they do is they step up and step down the voltage so it transmits more efficiently, and then they step it down to 120 volts when it gets to your
Yeah,
neighborhood.
Rambo shot them all down in the first flood, and that's how the town went dark.
Yeah, and do you remember what, like, when he shot them?
They kind of explode.
They explode.
Yeah.
Sparks.
That is a thing that happens. And
Okay.
sometimes, like, when you live in a city where you see it, this never saw this when I was a kid because I lived in the country and there's not that many of them. But in the city, there's lots. And every once in a while, like one night I was driving home and just saw a huge green flash, incredibly bright light, and that was a transformer exploding.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
So
UFOs. Watchers.
this
Does it also disrupt radio
get to the
waves
sniper
nearby?
part.
I don't know about that. Maybe when it explodes, just for a second, I would think, though. It's not like a pinch. This isn't the end of Ocean's 11. So they knew not to shoot the transformers because they would explode. Instead, they penetrated the towers that contain like a non-conductive cooling oil that keeps the transformers from overheating. So all the coolant drained out, and then the transformers all overheated and shut down. Mm-hmm. And because of the fragility of our nation's power grid, in order to keep the whole thing from collapsing, like and having a blackout equivalent to the one that took over the Northeast in 2007 or 2008. Mm-hmm. They had to scramble. They had to like reroute everything, and like Chloe and Jack were in CTU talking about what was going on.
Fire sale.
Do
It
they
was a
know
fire
anything
sale,
about
exactly.
the snipers?
Nothing.
Really?
So the snipers were in and out, and they were gone 1 minute before the cops showed up.
How do they know that they were snipers?
Because there are bullet holes in the thing, and I'm sure they looked at the caliber. They didn't.
There's
give
a ballistics
details.
expert. That
Right.
showed up.
There's somebody. They
These
didn't.
aren't average bullets.
So they didn't give a lot of details when they released this because they didn't want Joe Bob and Jimbo to go out to the local transmission station, start shooting it up, to see
Or
what
the
would
snipers
happen.
know how much information they really had.
That also is true. It took a month to get the substation back online. And also, they found the shell casings on the scene, but there were 100 of them, and they were all fingerprint free. So they assumed this was the work of professionals,
Jack
not
Reacher.
vandals.
100? How it takes a while to shoot 100 rounds.
Sniper
Well, there's
rounds.
multiple snipers, presumably. Multiple locations, multiple snipers.
Shoot the cooling
They don't
tanks.
have the starter guns that you get in like Battlefield, where you gotta reload them.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. They have. I
Yeah.
think they probably went big.
Wow,
It's like
So
the end of
anyway.
First Contact. Star
that's
Trek.
scary.
Yeah, it's real scary.
Fire sale.
Fire sale is different, isn't it? Fire sale is when I guess it's when they just start turning off services like stoplights. Make all the stoplights green. The city shuts down in like 5 minutes. And then Shia LaBeouf has to jump out of Optimus Prime and into a helicopter. Also, Bruce Willis is there. You clearly did not see the fourth Die Hard movie.
Was that the one with Kevin Smith?
Yes,
I forgot it.
it's probably best.
Yeah.
Small thing. Microsoft has a new CEO. Satya Nadella is one of the candidates that was listed for a long time. One of the internal candidates. He has, for the last few years, been in charge of Microsoft's Azure, Windows Azure, or
Which has
Azure
been a
Windows
success
or whatever.
for the most part.
It's one of Microsoft's. It's a high point for Microsoft. I mean,
iCloud might even run on it.
So what do you think?
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think this means overall? Like, do you think that's he's definitely business oriented.
He's also an engineer.
Yeah, the cool part was I read Hacker News a bit, and all the responses on there were a bunch of like Microsoft employees were like, look, if you worked at Microsoft and you wanted to pick a guy, this would be the guy. And they were just talking about how much of their code they'd open sourced under that division and all that kind of stuff. So it sounded like people were pretty happy with it there.
It seems like the thing that his division built, because he under the reorg that they did last year, he became the head of like enterprise and Azure. But before that, he was the Azure guy. And it seems like,
which is their cloud.
It's their competitor to Amazon EC2 and S3 and all that stuff. AWS, yeah, Amazon Web Services. It seems like they built the only real huge scale competitor to AWS. Like Rackspace has their cloud stuff, but it's small. And I mean, it seems like a good choice. Like I think it's better to have an engineer there. He's been there since '92, so he's been there for good and bad. He saw the rise with Windows 95 through XP. He was there for Vista. Like he's clearly somebody who understands Microsoft.
And Bill's doing 3 days at the office.
So that's the other thing. There's a lot of speculation. Gates is no longer going to be the chairman of the board. He is going to be an advisor. So I assume that means they're going to be like office buddies. Maybe they'll have like one big room.
It's like a secret like bookshave disappears.
No, I think it's going to be like Cagney and Lacey where their desks just face each other. And like there's Gates' desk and Satya's desk and they're just, hey, what do you think about this, Bill? I don't know about that. I think that's good. You want to go get a churro? Sure, why not? I think it's a good thing for Microsoft. I think it's better to have an engineer in charge than somebody who's from marketing or sales.
Do you think that because he is, kind of the speculation has been because he's so enterprise focused that they'll shift away from their consumer facing products like Surface and...
no, he's a software and he's a services and devices guy. So if you look at the camps inside Microsoft, there's we should keep making software because that's what Microsoft does. And then there's the people who are like, we want to make platforms that we can sell services into, which is the services and devices crowd. He has been strongly a services and devices crowd because he's the one who made the cloud, the services side of that.
So Windows Phone and all these fun things that have been, lukewarm or
he believes in the post PC world. So I would expect that means...
It would be foolish to not believe in the post-PC world.
Yes, I don't think Microsoft's board is going to allow them to hire someone that doesn't believe in the post-PC board.
Well, unless they just want to do Office and Enterprise only.
Well,
be out of consumer products, period.
That would be the other way to do it. I mean,
it's like a chutes and ladder. They could just jump out
sell
the side.
Windows to Lenovo.
Like, who's going to be there?
I think it's a good thing for Microsoft. I mean, I don't think... At this point... I don't think that they had any bad candidates on the rumored final list.
Stephen Elop was a bad candidate.
I don't think he was on the final list.
How's he going to be on a stage, you think?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I've not really seen him talk outside of like developer conferences and stuff like that, where it's
Build is going to be really interesting this year.
Your Build will be super interesting this year. We'll be there.
Tell me what Build is as a person.
Build is their developer conference. So it's their Google I/O or Apple.
The famous developers came out of Build?
I don't think it was called Build then, but it came out what became that event. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, it's interesting. This is going to be an interesting time for Microsoft. They've really got to, for a company that has such
how do you save Microsoft
problems
right now? Yeah, what's the best way to save Microsoft?
I mean, Microsoft still makes a shitload of money, just to be clear.
Yes, but I'm saying the future of Microsoft.
The future
to ensure a good future of Microsoft. What do you do?
I think that they have to build products that people are excited about buying.
I would just go.
Call me old fashioned.
I would go the enterprise route. I would kind of give up and say, we aren't necessarily the best at this side of stuff, but you know what we are really good at. We're good at. Servicing companies and doing great support and doing that side of the business.
And then selling off Xbox and all the stuff that goes with it.
You could spin it off into something. I mean, I'd imagine that divisions like that they probably want some of their own autonomy with it, but
they traditionally had, and I think that's kind of started to erode with the last generation.
So I think stick with your consumer products. Office, keep making money with Office but don't expect that it'll make money for you.
It's not a 20-year product, yeah,
or 10 years down the line. But Don't drop it. Xbox, you have this consumer-facing product that does not make a lot of money in the bottom line, but a lot of consumers have it. Keep that. Keep Windows. Refocus Windows, and don't try to be in everything. Don't try to be in the consumer space in every space that Apple's in.
I mean, and it seems like Apple even is backing away. For the last few releases of OS X, it seemed like they're trying to integrate OS X and iOS, and it looks like now that's going to stop.
I don't think that their plan has ever changed. Apple's plan.
I think guarantee you that Apple's OS plan changed after Forstall left. Was fired, left, terminated, quit, resigned, whatever.
It's another word I have trouble spelling.
Forstall?
No, guarantee.
There's two different spellings.
There's Garan.
Yeah.
Well, and E and Y mean different things.
Because you get lost in the X-Men.
Guarantee.
You get lost in X-Men?
Yeah, in Gambit.
Wow.
I guarantee you.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's
It's French Creole.
French Creole. The guarantee, it means two different things. The one with the Y and the one with the EE, even though they're pronounced the same and are spelled mostly the same.
spell with a Y?
One is
One
a
with a
noun and
Y?
one is
What
a
is that?
verb.
Y?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Then we've got a college grad over there.
One is a Y. One is a verb and one is the noun.
Which one's
one
the-
is
what is two E's?
I think E is the verb.
I
And
guarantee
so
would
a
be-
warranty and guarantee.
So buying a guarantee. Like
Guarantee
you
is the noun. The Y is the verb, and that means the Y is the act of making the promise that you're going to cover a product.
Wow.
The E is the actual
impressive.
is the actual document.
used it
Yeah,
with
I
the
wasn't
Y.
expecting this much depth.
This is what we deliver every week. On This Is Only a
That's
Test.
doing it wrong all these years.
Somebody corrected me when I was the editor of Maximum PC. Like these are the things that you learn. You learn that like certain editors have trouble with peak, P-E-E-K and P-E-A-K sound the same, mean completely different things, and they switch them up.
There's the sneak peek Twitter account.
What about
that
your
helps
peaked?
correct me that.
You're a little peaked.
That's P-E-A-K.
Okay.
Or your interest is
Peaked
peaked.
is how you
That's
pronounce that.
P-I-Q-U-E.
That is correct.
That's, your interest is peaked.
Okay.
There's also it's a lot of things that people get hung up on.
I'm excited for Microsoft.
It's good. I think at this point, any change that they have is going to be good. I'm really interested to see what Bill Gates' involvement is going
What do you
forward.
personally want out of Microsoft? Like, if they could do one thing for you?
You know what I would like?
Yeah.
Is a version of Windows that doesn't make me sad every time I use
That's
it.
exactly what I would say.
Yeah.
Focus Windows back into your core desktop and laptop users. I say get out of the Surface game.
I don't know that you should get out of the Surface game. I think that they need to go back and I do not think that is a necessary. The x86 version of that is not a terrible product.
That's a laptop.
Do you know what
build an Ultrabook. Get out of the tablet game.
I would love a slim OS that basically
lightweight?
was like a Chrome OS.
Yeah.
Because what I use my PC mostly for is a gaming machine. I know there's probably lots of people that do that, and I don't think that could be their main OS. But I'd like them to have a slim OS that was basically just like a Chrome OS, where it's, hey, use the internet on the machine, use all these basic services on it, some cloud storage stuff,
That's what Windows 8 RT is supposed to be.
and
Yeah, dude.
and then just let me open Steam as a big giant button on it.
See what you want is Steam OS.
You want X8,
But without
you want
Linux.
Windows 8, but without the x86, but with the functionality of RT.
Nobody wants the functionality of RT, dude.
He wants
No,
to run only Steam and a web browser.
So you want Steam OS, but on Windows instead of Linux. You can do that. Just put it. They got to fix Windows. It seems like they're moving in the right direction. There's been some leaks showing Windows 8.1 Update 1 that seem promising, and the Windows 9 stuff that they're theoretically going to show at Build. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that. They could go one
Incremental
of two
updates.
ways.
Not going to be a big change from Windows 8.
Aren't they moving away from Metro? Didn't I read that somewhere this week?
It's called Modern now,
Oh.
but yeah, no, I don't
With
think they're-
SkyDrive,
The
OneDrive.
The thing that they're going to do is integrate Metro and the Windows desktop better, it sounds like, so that you can actually, so that those feel like two parts of one cohesive whole rather than two individual OSs.
Rather
that
than,
run
oh
on
my
your
God, I
machine.
accidentally hit a button. Where am I?
Yeah.
How do I get back?
Yeah, that's the problem right now.
Where's my I want like a parachute button every time I end up in Metro.
There-
F9.
I almost one night a long time ago, Gina was using my computer and got stuck in the in the PDF viewer app and got so pissed.
Yeah.
And then I said, just hit the Windows key. She says, what the fuck is the Windows key? It was pretty
Turns
funny.
out the apps were all dead all along.
Yeah. It seems like the Keurig people are probably going to make a SodaStream competitor, they might license Coke from Coke, so you can make your own Coke at home. They will sell you Coke syrup, and then you will make fizzy water in a bottle with a Keurig SodaStream competitor. And instead of it tasting like weird off-brand Safeway brand cola, it'll taste like Coke.
But so what's the advantage then, other than like you get to make Coke? Would it be cheaper doing this?
The advantage is that you don't have to pay for the expensive thing about fizzy water in general is the transportation of large quantities, large volumes of fizzy water across, the country.
It is cheaper to do SodaStream than
So
to
probably their margins will be a lot better, and you'll get fresher quote Coke. I did air quotes if you're listening to the audio version.
So same thing with Diet. Doesn't matter.
Diet.
I can get
I would assume all the Coca-Cola
zeros.
brands will be
I'm curious
supported
whether
there.
6 months from now, people who jumped on SodaStream are still buying into SodaStream.
So I like the SodaStream, but I only use it to make carbonated water. I make club soda basically.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great for that because like club soda is one of those things. I wish I could get tonic water for it because club soda and tonic water are those things that like when you want them, then you kind of want that drink, but you never. Like I never fucking have
How
club
long
soda
until
in the
they're
house.
built into the refrigerator?
You can get them built into the refrigerator right now.
That's what I want.
Samsung, I think, had one at CES. You plug the normal SodaStream cartridge into. Like they have
And
a
that will
they have a
last.
proprietary CO2
It'll
cartridge.
be right next to the LCD screen that's in it.
Yeah.
The one that I have has lasted a crazy long time. I'll bring it and do a show and tell. It's a good thing to talk about. I hadn't thought about that. It's a neat product. It's not, but the soda taste is not. It's not good. It's not. If you are a person who like drinks a Coke and a Pepsi, is like, these are all soda. They all taste the same. It's fine for you. But if you can blind taste test the difference between a Coke and a Pepsi, it's not your product.
Do you have an order?
Hmm?
Do you have an order?
Like what my soda preference?
Yeah. What's your preferences? Most people have an order.
Yeah.
I will go Coke Zero to Diet Pepsi to Diet Coke.
Oh, I've never drink a Diet Pepsi.
You Diet Pepsi?
Yeah, I'd rather drink crab juice.
Dude, it's the taste of a new generation.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
No. It's the
Do you not
mean
like
it's the
Britney
soda that
Spears?
lit Michael Jackson on fire, is what you mean.
I'll drink Diet Coke.
Yes, it's the
Alf.
soda that lit Michael Jackson on fire.
Alf drinks Diet Pepsi, I bet.
Diet Coke, Perrier.
Perrier.
That's not soda.
What?
Like unflavored.
Perrier's
Diet.
out.
We have Perrier at the office.
Fancy.
La-ti-da. We saved that for guests and Norm, apparently. Yeah, so Keurig. There we go. Facebook Paper, I think, is out now. Have you installed Facebook Paper, Norm?
I have iOS. Or I don't have iOS. So
Oh,
I
it's
can't.
iOS only?
It's iOS only.
Oh, well, I'm going to be special and install it right now.
This is a new Facebook interface.
Yes.
There's huge controversy over its name and the company 53, who also makes a paper app for iOS.
It's editor driven, though, right? Isn't that the difference?
I've not used it because I'm on Android.
Oh. Well, you don't have to be sad.
But so the controversy was that the 53 paper guys, which are they make a drawing app
They do.
essentially,
It's a
They were
really
the
good
old-
drawing
yeah.
app.
They were the old courier guys.
and the CEO for them kind of penned this open letter that basically said, "Hey, it's cool and all. We're a company that uses Facebook stuff. There's no problem with that, but why don't you not be a big bully company?" And I think he even said something like, I'm paraphrasing here, but he was like, "Don't be a big bully company and, hijack. You don't need that name. You could just be something else. Like, we hope you decide, like, what are they going to do? They
Do
don't
the
care."
right thing, motherfuckers, is what he said. He said, hey,
Yeah.
Zuck,
Yeah.
what you're
You're-
doing is wrong.
You're a big company. We're a small company. We came out 2 years ago in 2012.
And that always works. That's always worked
Right.
historically.
How many times has that
Yeah.
worked historically, Dave?
Yeah. Never.
Yeah.
What's funnier is that there's another company called 53,
Yeah.
which is named 53, but not it's spelled out and not the number, and was also like calling 53 out now about this.
I mean, it makes sense. It's all ridiculous.
This 53 post is really good because it starts
Yeah.
out real strong. It's like, this began with 3 guys building an app in a New York City apartment. Like we're the little guys.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be nice to us, Facebook. We're just like you used to be when it was just you and Zuckerberg and Justin Timberlake in that house
10 years ago.
in Silicon Valley 10 years ago. Oh, we got to talk about that too. I'm going to put that on the list. So yeah, the paper guys are boned. Their name is going to be they're going to be the number 2 result. Probably already are.
You think they'll
stylus-
change their name?
I don't think they can at this point. I mean, their whole marketing push was, hey, we're just like paper, but on your iPad. And then they released a thing called the Pencil that is a stylus for paper. When I search for paper on the App Store, Stories from Facebook is number 1. Paper Toss 2.0 is number 2. Paper Toss Friends is number 3. Paper Toss... Oh, it's an iPad only app, I bet. Yeah, okay.
What are Paper Toss Friends? Do they like just... Do they throw like finished contracts at each other?
No, it's... Have you never played Paper Toss? It's that game where you flick the paper into the trash can. It's a really dumb
Sounds like
iOS game.
a terrible premise for a game. Like, oh yeah, here I want to simulate
I got
my
really
real
excited
life.
because I thought you were talking about that old graph paper game where you draw your bases and then you put your pencil down and then you flick the pencil.
What?
You ever play that?
No.
This is pre-iPad. It's back in the old school days. Analog days. So you have a notebook that's graph paper. So you have squares.
Yes.
Okay.
And you and your friend each it's a versus game. So you draw a base using circles. You draw little each square in your graph paper can be like a sandbag or a turret.
Okay.
And a circle is a turret, a square is a sandbag, and you can draw. It's art. Right?
Yeah.
And then you can like draw intermediate things, and the way you play once you've established your forts, so to speak, your little paper forts, the way you launch, it's almost like Scorched Earth, but 2D is you have a pencil, not a pen, and you put it vertically on where the pencil tip is at the center of one of your turrets.
So tip bottom,
eraser top. Your finger's holding the eraser, kind of balancing it. And then you're using your other hand, you flick the pencil, and so it creates a little line. And that's your trajectory. And then you take a ruler and you draw from your turret where you started to where your missile hit, and you get to destroy whatever it hits.
This is fantastic. How did I miss this game?
Yeah, this must have been...
And it's like back
I
and
was playing
forth.
paper football.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is the kind of stuff that doesn't transition regionally pre-internet. Like, I bet that all the kids on the West Coast were playing this, and unless some kid who came from a school where you played this moved into your town, you'd never learn about this game.
But we had all the Mortal Kombat codes, so it was fine.
We had different Mortal Kombat codes, better than Mortal Kombat.
We had Street Fighter 2.
Did you play paper football
Turbo
with
Edition.
the flipping?
We definitely had paper football.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paper football was...
Did you play the
flipping was only
boxes
the very
game?
end, where you have the sheet of paper, and then, again, it's all with note paper, right?
Yeah.
And you flick the football, and you had to get past the edge of the paper.
It had to dangle.
Had to dangle, and it couldn't go past, because then that would be like overshooting.
Well, and then you had the field goal where you put your fingers up.
That's
and
that is what that game is known for at the end.
Getting hit in the face.
hit in the
getting
eye
a piece
with
of
something
paper.
pointy.
Kicking the field goal. But it was really it was like shuffleboard.
Did you play the boxes game where you made the dots on the graph paper and had to make the box? I don't even remember how you play that now.
I taught that to a little kid the other day, and they thought I was a warlock. They were like, "What is this game that you've invented? Have you patented it? Like, are you Mr. Monopoly? Do you have so much money from learning this game?"
There's paper toss right there.
No, it's not good.
You flick the...
That looks terrible.
That looks real bad.
You flick the ball, and you got to get the ball of paper into the trash
The
can.
game I described, yes, I can imagine you could create a tablet version for it, and you don't even need a pencil or a stylus. You just flick, and then it'll do the automatic trajectory. But the whole idea is that you're investing time into drawing your base. And in the end, you have a sheet of paper with all these lines and things scribbled out, and a battlefield.
And someone's going to scribble over your work of art. It's impermanent.
And then that is your your memento for the battle. You can't have that now.
So
Perfect way to spend first period.
Okay, that sounds good.
What else you got on your paper?
Paper's out. You want me to tell you what's on my paper list right now?
So how does Interface of Paper look compared to Facebook?
Well,
for
it played
people who don't have
a
iOS?
video first. It's full screen first off, so there's very little window chrome, and you just see like a full bleed picture, and then along the bottom there's the stories that you have, and stuff that people have. I don't want to see me. I know what I like.
Do you enjoy it? Do you have fun with it? Is it better than
I just installed it 20 seconds ago,
Oh.
so it's a little early for me to say. We'll talk about it next week, I guess.
I'll tell you that I ended up on the one of the designers, the guy who designed it, his Twitter stream or whatever, and which got me to his portfolio page, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm the worst designer ever in the world," because he had the most impressive like string portfolio of products that he had built. So recently it was paper. He also helped design the Nest.
Wow.
Really?
He also helped design a bunch of Apple products, Time Machine, and
The physical hardware?
no, the software. Like he's
Okay.
a UI designer.
Oh, got it.
And I think maybe Google, or not Google, the Apple Maps product. Not obviously he's not an engineer, but like
he did the
done
pretty
the
part of
UI
it.
and
Yeah, it's
stuff.
really
Yeah.
nice looking.
So I was just like, oh my god, what am I doing?
So the tech thing isn't bad. Like I'm looking at the tech news, and it's sourced from like the usual suspects: Wired, TechCrunch, Tech Meme, Quartz, The Verge, Gizmodo, GigaOM, and it seems to be a little bit based on stuff that I've probably linked via Twitter to Facebook at some point in the past. It could also just be selected based on like generic channels. I don't know. It looks fine. I'm not super. I'm not crazy about it.
All right. 10 years of Facebook.
10 years of Facebook. Were you on Facebook 10 years ago, Norm?
I was. I found that out at least today.
I was, and now I'm gone.
Well, you weren't on Facebook that early because it wasn't until like 2005 or 6 that they opened it up to non-college kids.
I think I still had my EDU account.
Really?
Right.
Yes.
You needed an EDU account, and it was
Yeah.
regional. It was like Craigslist.
So you had to. It started out, if that documentary is right, with Harvard people only, right? And then they expanded it to a few universities. And you came in when they added Berkeley, I guess, Norm, right? Was it something that
Everyone.
Casey Johnston at ours wrote a story about how when she got her college email address, like as an incoming freshman, the first thing all of her friends did was sign up for Facebook accounts.
I was a
You were a little
Junior.
older, right? Yeah.
when that I was a sophomore when I first got Facebook, and it was definitely something that like within 1 week everyone had one.
Really?
1 week.
God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's never happened again. Probably will never happen again.
Well, it was also like within 1 week everyone changed from Morpheus to Kazaa.
yeah, but
That's true.
That's the kind of thing that
Yeah.
propagates real fast.
But I think that stuff propagates a lot slower now because there's just so much more inertia with the existing system. Anyway, that doesn't matter. The point is, it's been 10 years. Facebook is doing a thing now. I can't remember what the URL is, but if you go to facebook.com, let's see if I just type it in, what happens. Nope, doesn't say. But if you go to facebook.com, you can see a history of your life on Facebook.
Or the kind of stuff you share.
It's
It's
Facebook.
more valuable for people who actually share a lot.
It is definitely better if you share a
Whoa.
lot. It's facebook.com/lookback. Somebody's laptop just turned on.
What?
I joined in 2007. I was late because I didn't I wasn't into social. I thought this was just another Friendster.
Did you not have a Friendster and a MySpace and a Zynga?
I didn't.
Not
I
a
never
Zynga,
had.
I'm sorry, Zanga.
I've never had a MySpace, but I did have a Friendster.
I had a live journal.
I can see
how-
that.
You were
yeah.
cooler than everyone.
Oh, I was writing live journal stuff a long time ago. Had like my little live journal.
Tumblr before
Half
Tumblr.
the ideas that I put into websites came out of cool ideas that came out of live journal.
I had Flickr and Blogger accounts that predated their acquisitions by Yahoo and Google, respectively. But I didn't
Flickr came out after Facebook.
before Facebook.
After Facebook.
You are incorrect, sir. Flickr came out in like 2001.
What's the bet? I want the bet. What are you betting?
How many eggs are you going to eat, Chan? You're
Flickr came out after Facebook. Maybe it was acquired by Yahoo. After
Oh, you
Facebook.
you now
Already-
don't feel,
already
yeah,
stepping
it doesn't
back.
feel as good about it. How confident are you right now? Before he looks this up,
40%.
40%. You're not even commenting anymore.
Wow.
February after Facebook.
Flickr was launched, was created by Ludicorp in 2004 and acquired by Yahoo in 2005. February of 2004.
What? What?
Hold on.
What?
Oh, he's looking up the
February
other
one. Looking up
2004?
Facebook.
What do we got?
February 4, 2004.
Wait. Did I just not
Hold
say
on.
February 2004?
You
My
did.
40% suddenly looks like 100%.
They're both February of 2004. There's no date.
Wait, did I not say?
somebody-
Did I not say February 2004?
You did.
You did, but I don't think. I'm.
We have
curious
no-
about
I have
what
no
that
date.
is.
2001.
I want to bet right now. I want somebody. I want to hear.
Facebook was before
Hold
Flickr. Bet right now, 3 eggs.
3 eggs. Are you gonna take 3 eggs?
I don't want to eat that many calories.
No. What is your equivalent?
3 eggs is probably about right.
No, he likes eggs.
I do like
Doesn't count.
eggs.
What?
I don't know
You've
that we're
seen
gonna.
him-
I don't know that we're gonna get a definitive answer here.
The definitive answer
there's
is
going to
Facebook
be an
launched,
answer.
launched
There's
before
always an
Facebook.
They're
answer.
both
Before
February of
Flickr.
2004.
And Facebook
Facebook is obviously 2004, the 4th.
I think you should stop it right now because
I
this will
would-
take research.
Here's-
But I want to bet, and I want the bet to happen.
Here's the other thing
at
is-
the beginning of the next.
I don't think
my
that the Facebook.
confidence went from real high to 40% and then real high.
I don't
And it was like,
think-
it was like Facebook stock.
I want to get a
IPO.
ruling from the comments. We'll take a consensus of comments whether we count Facebook launching the day after Zuckerberg got dumped as the date.
A consensus
Or-
of comments.
What? Yeah.
No,
What kind of
Who's the
federal
judge? Are you the
source is
judge?
this?
Are you going to be the Are you going to be the rule?
I will go. How about I will do the research and figure it out.
Okay.
and I will present
but-
it at the next
the next time.
podcast.
Okay.
Regardless,
So here's my question
This
to you.
started with I said
You-
Flickr
that's
wasn't
true.
even out yet, and you said, "Are you fucking kidding me? It was out in 2001."
I thought Flickr was out crazy early. Flickr, I remember, was the first place I'd ever seen
Don't
a
give
tag
up.
cloud
You can still win.
and a friends
you
list.
You can still win, Smith.
So here's the question: what's the launch date? Flickr was publicly available at their launch. What is the launch date
We're not
for
talking about publicly
Facebook?
available.
No,
We're
no.
talking about the
Immediately,
Facebook
a launch is a launch.
when like
Launch is a
the
launch.
when it's about
when it's available at Facebook.
when Zuckerberg's ex-girlfriend
it was
gets
not
posted
Facebook, it was
about
the Facebook. Remember?
Yeah, at the.
I don't know if
at
that
the
counts
Facebook.
then.
Yes, it does.
the Facebook counts.
Yes, the Facebook counts.
Bullshit. I don't know about this. So what you're saying is, in order for me to win this, Flickr has to have launched on February 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of 2004.
And guess what? We haven't any Flickr 10th anniversary.
I'm not
this
feeling
month.
real good about this one all of
Yeah?
a sudden. I want you to think real hard about what the launch date, whether the actual public availability in 2005 is the appropriate time, or whether it's this private
I
beta
really hate
elitist
eggs, and I'm
East
happy-
Coast
The whole
elitism
thing
bullshit.
was a private beta.
Yeah,
in the
I know.
beginning.
That's
that's
my
still a
point.
website launch.
Okay. Well, Dave, you're the keeper. Maybe we'll do a premium video of the results.
Okay.
That seems like the right kind of dumb.
Pretty good.
Eve Valkyrie. We played that, Norm.
We played several minutes of it with the Oculus.
Yep. It's the Oculus-enabled space combat game set in the Eve universe. It is going to be published by Oculus. It's going to be Oculus exclusive, Rift exclusive. It is a real game that they are making and is going to be an Oculus Rift exclusive.
That's cool.
This is good news.
This is very good news.
If you like VR stuff.
Is it cool?
Have you tried the Oculus, Dave?
I have it. I get the jumbles.
You mean like you start to
I
hurl?
don't know. It's just weird. I'm like, it needs to get better.
So we're not going to go. We talked about it
Yeah.
a lot. The new one was much better, like
Okay.
dramatically better. We're going to see it again in a few weeks, I think. Patrick, if you're into Eve stuff, Patrick Klepek over at Giant Bomb wrote a really good article about the crazy shit that went down in Eve over the last week that basically resulted in about $130,000 worth of virtual spaceships being blown up because some dude forgot to pay his rent.
What type of bill?
Apparently you have to pay money to keep
A squatting right.
to keep ownership of
paying
resources. So he didn't pay his rent, and two people also confirmed that he thought he did pay his rent and didn't, or something. And
So it's like an unofficial
as a
system?
result, a war broke out. No, it's part of the official. I think it has to do with sector control or something. I don't know how it works. Dave's our Eve expert.
Whew. Man, that's wow. You're pulling them out.
Hey,
there.
Dave, you played Eve once,
I
right?
did. Yeah. And you go deep, and then you're like, what am I doing?
The thing about Eve is you always, no matter how deep you go, there's always deeper. It just keeps
Oh,
going.
yeah.
It's not like, there's a lot of game there. Anyway, you should go read the story on Giant Bomb. It was very entertaining. News this week about why Carmack really left id. USA Today had a story where Carmack was basically said, look, they weren't the new owners of id Software, ZeniMax, who also owns Bethesda, publishers of such games as Fallout and Elder Scrolls series, doesn't like VR. They weren't into making VR exclusive games
Or VR compatible.
or VR compatible games even. So Carmack,
did not renew his contract.
pulled the ripcord and jumped over to Oculus.
Which sounds
great.
completely reasonable from
Yeah.
both parties' sides.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think everybody made the right
Yeah.
choice there,
Yeah.
probably.
Did you read that the history of Street Fighter story? We're talking of great
No.
stories. Polygon did a massive feature, which is
I
fantastic.
heard it was audio only or something.
No, there was an audio component. The Gallus team played, but you can turn it off. It was an oral history of the making of Street Fighter 2. It's excellent read.
I'll have to check that out. I was never into. I was always a Mortal Kombat guy. We never had a Street Fighter scene in our local arcades.
I liked both, but Street Fighter is
It
the
talked
gold
about
standard.
Street Fighter is clearly the
1
better game. Like
to how
Yeah.
Capcom went from Street Fighter 1 to Final Fight series, and then realized that there was a competitive market in America. How they went to 6 buttons, what the designers didn't want to do, and why the names were changed in Street Fighter. I mean, everyone knows the M Bison story.
I don't know the M Bison story.
So M Bison is the villain in Street Fighter 2,
Okay.
and originally Balrog, the boxer, was named M Bison because it's
You shall
kinda
not
like,
pass.
it's kind of like Mike Tyson, and because it sounded too much like Mike Tyson, they renamed him Balrog and just swapped the names around because some of the assets were already done. And the glitches when the game came out, and how many units they were selling. They were talking about the first year Street Fighter sold 25 to 30,000 arcade units, which is a lot.
That's a shitload. Yeah.
At
Even
about,
back then.
at about several $100,000 each or wherever it was. About the box art.
How much were they? Were probably what, $5 or $10 each?
About $1,000 each.
Okay.
How they got to the Street Fighter Championship Edition and how they got Turbo
So they explained why there's so many different versions of Street Fighter.
of Street Fighter 2 specifically.
Well, and as a result, every other Street Fighter game has had a shitload of versions too, right?
It's a great oral history.
Totally check that out. Galaxy S5 rumored to be announced later this month.
Unpacked.
What does that mean?
That's the event. That's the Samsung.
Oh God, are they going to do
Event.
that thing with the Broadway people
Nope.
again? Oh,
Nope.
thank goodness.
It is going to be subdued this year.
That's Subdued is the best news I've heard.
Broadway people.
Last year when they unveiled the Galaxy S4, they had a super duper sexist Broadway event where they play acted a whole bunch of things that were kind of uncomfortable and weird for everyone involved.
We'll call it a chauvinistic Broadway
Yeah,
event.
chauvinistic is a good. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Weird.
Yeah, it was
It
real
was a
weird.
production, a Broadway
You can
production.
find it on YouTube if you want to watch. It's
on Broadway,
yeah.
outside Times Square.
Yeah, they rented a Broadway theater in the whole thing. It was super weird. Xbox One is going to get its first major update on February 11th. It seems like they've already started updating some stuff. I fired up Blu-ray player the other day and got a new Blu-ray player app, which is welcome. It seems like, at least in the one thing that I watched so far, the AV sync didn't get off, so that was nice. The app that's coming on February 11th is going to include a wireless battery indicator, so you can see what the charge level of the batteries in your Xbox One controller are. You'll be able to plug in a USB keyboard and use that. And then there's a lot of small fixes. They didn't say anything about party system, which is the big thing I have a question about because it's kind of weird the way it works right now and doesn't work very well. And it seems like probably there'll be monthly updates because they have another update scheduled for March sometime. So I still wouldn't buy an Xbox One. Titanfall.
Right decisions were made.
Wait until Titanfall.
But
Yeah.
you can play that on your PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could.
Yep.
On Origin, right? It's Origin only now. They said.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
minus.
Yeah.
I mean, so here's the thing. On one side, Microsoft is providing the infrastructure. On the other side, EA is providing the infrastructure. I almost wonder if the Xbox experience is not going to be better.
Are you and you're basing this upon Battlefield?
Battlefield, Sims, everything multiplayer that EA has released in the last several years.
Battlefield
not
3
being
was
good.
fine.
Battlefield, but that was 3 years ago now.
No, I know. I'm just saying Battlefield 4 I feel was like a hugely rushed product.
Did you play the PC version of that, or you?
Yeah.
So is it any
And
good?
it's fine.
Does it work now?
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's a great game. But
So-
it definitely, when it launched, it was like, oh man, they put this together super fast.
I'm also kind of coming around on the Jeff theory of multiplayer shooters, in that I'm much more likely to be competitive against the console crowd than the mouse and keyboard crowd.
That was a pretty good theory, actually.
Yeah, I'm not competitive against the mouse and keyboard crowd anymore. I'm never going to have that kind of time. But I might be able to use my superior tactical experience learning on the
Your
PC,
years, yeah.
my years of training
Yeah.
As
to
opposed to
be more
Twitch.
competitive. Yeah.
You can beat 7-year-olds. is
I
what
can
you're
I
saying.
can beat the shit out of 7-year-olds.
Or tell their parents they bought a rated M game.
Exactly. I'll just start screaming obscenities until their parents pull the plug. So I guess that's it for news, unless we have anything else I missed. Norm, you feeling good?
I'm sure there's some stuff we missed.
But absolutely stuff we missed. Let's play some music.
We
and
talked about Lenovo last week.
We talked about
Sony
Lenovo.
might be looking to sell their PC business
We didn't talk about that.
as well.
I saw that Steve Jobs wanted to put OS 10 on Sony Vaio laptops in the early 2000s.
Wow.
That would have been such a drastic shift in the time vortex or timeline.
Well,
something.
think about
Be like a sliders
Like,
episode.
That's a second
Golden
Sliders
Gate
reference.
Bridge is blue.
This podcast already.
The Golden Gate Bridge is blue.
The one thing we did loosely talk about Mac 30th anniversary last week, but Apple released their promo video for it to celebrate the birthday. Chite Day, the advertising agency that they worked with for the original 1984 ad, also produced this ad, and it was directed by Ridley Scott's son, Jake Scott.
Really?
And the ad, which you can watch on Apple's website, it's I guess less so an ad, and then it's called a spot. It's like a 2-minute thing, celebration of the Mac. Definitely plays like a lot of the commercial that we saw in the Super Bowl, the montagey, voiceover, sentimental stuff that Microsoft even had a great one during the Super Bowl. But
What was the hold on? What was this was about the future, right?
it's about how Microsoft products help people in the present, and
Yeah.
with the NFL player who had some disease or something, and he had to communicate. He was using Microsoft products to communicate with his son.
Got it. Okay.
But the Apple one, so you go to this landing page and the video just plays in the window, and at the end of the video, you realize that this video, which is a big montage, was all shot. Not only was it all shot with iPhones, iPhone 5Ss, but it was all shot on the birthday of the Mac in one day.
Oh, it's the one-day video.
So on January 24th, which was the anniversary of the Mac, Jake Scott, Ridley Scott's son, went to his command center in LA and through FaceTime communicated with, and only using Mac products, communicated with 15 cinematographers and assistant directors from around the world to film 70 hours of this footage, and then had a team of like a dozen editors, 20 editors, piecing this 2
So
minute.
basically, you're saying it sounds really impressive.
Yeah,
but when you
it's like-
take it,
right. So yes, the fact that it was shot with an iPhone 5S sounds impressive, but what was really impressive was the millions of dollars of logistics and decades of combined cinema experience and editing experience combined to make this ad. That's what was impressive about it, and it was a good ad.
it wasn't just like your buddy who just bought.
No,
Came out of the store, was
and
like,
shot
"Oh,
it
look at
vertically,
this thing."
and like, oh, I can do slow
Yeah.
motion.
Hey, man, I'm going to shoot my student film using all these iPhones.
Yes,
Just like that, right?
just like that,
Just do like recreations of Indiana Jones scenes.
That would be amazing.
just like
We should
that.
swede some movies using our iPhones.
But there are photos of these cinematographers using iPhone rigs
I'd be much more.
with battery packs and having like backup iPhones ready to go.
So they were like Ghostbusters, like
And-
coming to the scene.
Proton
and
pack
they
iPhone.
would have like be shooting with like a iPhone Steadicam with a second iPhone mounted on top to FaceTime with the director, and then like, oh, this iPhone's done, and then swap out another unit, and some digital media management guy uploading all the footage back.
Oh my God, those guys had the worst part of this job because that meant they had to sync all of these iPhones with a computer to get the video off.
Yep.
I would love to see a documentary about the making of that much more than I want to see the video.
I'm sure that was also filmed.
It's like the
By Team B with its other 50
with
people.
with legit
Yeah.
like red cameras. I'm sure shot that one.
Yeah.
Like, but the cameras are right there.
we could if you want just
Behind the scene,
bring it
behind
up.
the scene.
yeah. And then the behind that were some interns
Yeah.
with Android phones shooting the making of the making of. I want to see making of the Super Bowl halftime show because you see, like, I want to
Yes.
see
you and Gary would both want to see that.
Oh,
and everyone wants to see
It's
that.
amazing. It would be amazing. Why has nobody done that? Why has nobody made a documentary
you know
about
why?
how because they can't have the documentarians in the way for the 3 minutes that they have to roll that thing out.
I heard Flea faked it.
They always fake it.
I know that. Well, I don't know. Did Prince fake it?
Prince did
Prince,
not
they
fake it.
sing, but they never have instruments because
Prince plays an instrument. He plays that guitar.
they fake the.
They didn't fake
They,
it,
they
Prince
can't
did.
do sound checks.
Oh, that thing's too
fake
unique.
fake. Okay, Prince didn't fake it, but the Red Hot Chili Peppers did because they were not the headliner.
Yeah.
Because Bruno Mars was the headliner. So Bruno Mars guys
Oh,
legit
really?
played, and because these Red Hot Chili Peppers was a
cameo?
cameo appearance, just playing one song, you couldn't do the mixing for that in the middle of the Bruno Mars set.
What comes out of this? Prince doesn't fake it.
Prince doesn't fake it.
He's the artist.
I got-
he never fakes it.
I have
He was
no-
he was on the New Girl.
He was.
After
I watched. It's the
Super
first time
Bowl.
I watched The New Girl since it came out.
I watched half that episode.
You should
and
watch
said,
the
"Not
Prince
for me."
bits of The New Girl.
I don't.
Prince is really good. I don't think I'd ever heard Prince's voice except for in Purple Rain, like his speaking voice.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When do you hear Prince talk?
He's still just my character in the Saints Row games, so like I
Oh,
just
that's a
have
good
that.
one.
I just have that voice tied to Prince. He's like super tough.
Oh, see, okay.
Nolan
And
North.
heels. He wears heels. No,
I-
it's not the Nolan North. It's the other voice.
I usually use the Russian woman voice and make my person look like an alien,
Okay.
like a Star Trek villain.
Prince is good.
Prince is pretty good.
It's a great way to role play. Saints Row.
I think they don't have. There's no documentary for the halftime show because of 2004.
The Timberlake
incident?
incident
Yes.
with the boob.
Yeah,
That nipple shield's still weird.
it's been 10 years.
I am going to play some music, and then we're going to talk about what we've been testing. Didn't one of the Chili Peppers say he was going to whip his dick out on the Super Bowl?
What?
That was a threat, I thought.
What?
That to
If they had
commemorate the Janet Jackson
If
bit.
they had made that threat, they would not have been on the Super
Sounds
Bowl.
like a lyric.
I'm going to Google that. Norman Chan,
Mm-hmm.
we have been testing Steam OS and Steam boxes and all sorts of stuff. We shot a
yeah.
big, long video about that this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any thoughts on Steam OS you would like to share? Dave, do you have any questions about Steam OS you'd like to ask? What's your feeling as a normal?
I just kind of want to. What I'd like to know is this something that I'm actually going to use, or is it just one of their Skunk Works projects? Because I always feel that Valve kind of has their secondary projects that it's like, oh, they exist. Like I never use Big Picture Mode ever.
The big picture mode is what led up to this. Big picture mode was the test of the front end for SteamOS. I think SteamOS is going to be as big for Valve as Steam was for Valve when they launched Half-Life 2 with Steam.
Do you think it's going to be like a Valve thing? Do you think there will be a sea change where people are switching
Yep.
their computers? They want exactly what I wanted, which was just give me a Steam button and a version of Chrome.
yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Except it'll be the other way
Firefox.
around, where it launches into Steam and then you
can
launch your
exit out.
browser from Steam, which you can do right now.
And nobody will care because I'm the only person that plays games off good old games. So who cares about legacy games?
You can still install legacy games. You just run them in DOSBox on Linux,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's going to
that's
happen?
Valid.
What's going to happen if they do that? If there is that transition, there'll be a bunch of games that are in between, like the box ages that are easy to emulate. Like all of the 3D stuff that doesn't run very well in virtual machines will be really hard to emulate on Linux because it'll be too intensive to run with like inside VirtualBox or something like that, and not 2D enough to run in DOSBox.
So if we project SteamOS forward to 6
Flea
months from
did
now,
say that on Twitter, by the way. Flea said he was going to. Who wants to see my penis at the Super Bowl? I think he said dick. Actually, it's starred out on this picture. I can't tell.
if you project out from 6 months or a year from now or 3 years from now, what SteamOS will be, I think it's been good for PC gamers, good for Windows gamers. You're going to have a very polished single box experience. And unlike consoles where you're paying the $300 for this one, you have one type of play, which is pay $400 and you play games the way Microsoft wants you to play it, or the way Sony wants you to play it, with a disc and their store. With Steam, you're going to have these options where you can build a living room HTPC, and that is your Steam box. You don't pay your $100 Windows license. You can run your local games, and in 5 years, there'll be many more games than the 500 games right now that run natively on Linux. Media player will all be there. Your video stuff, your Plex, your Netflix will all be there on that box. Or if you don't want to build your $1,000, $1,500 living room HTPC, you can buy your $100, $200, $150 streaming-only box, and then you run everything. And this is what I think most people will be doing, was running games on Windows on their main computer, on their gaming PCs, and people will have more incentive to actually build and buy gaming PCs than ever before, because then you have a dual purpose where you add this $200 unit and can also stream in-house. And your home infrastructure is going to be better, more networked houses, better Wi-Fi. I think it is the smart way to combine PC gaming with the living room.
I have a 12-year-old nephew who, is your pretty mainstream Call of Duty Xbox player. And this recent Christmas, he wanted to get a computer specifically just for Steam, which I thought was like, oh man, all of those, and he got an Xbox. So it kind of blew me away that, because I had always looked at PC gaming, it probably as most of us look at it as kind of an older man's.
I
system a
think
little
that's
bit.
totally changed. Like,
No, I do,
look
yeah.
at Minecraft. If you want to look at something that brought 6-year-olds into the
Yeah.
PC as a gaming platform, Minecraft is it. Parents
that's
love
true.
Minecraft. Kids love Minecraft.
Yeah.
You can buy Minecraft shit at the grocery store now.
But he went through his, my sister sent me an email and was like, oh, well, what should he do? He's got this much money. And I was like, he should, if he really wants to have a nice system, he should, go buy one. I could help him. I could do it over Skype or something. Like, he should get the individual parts and put it together and learn a little bit about computers.
Build your own lightsaber.
Yeah, and she was hip to the idea. He was hip to the idea for about a week, and then of course just bought like a iBuy-Power system. So I mean that's what happens though, right?
Yeah.
Is like, so I think on one hand I see the Valve stuff and the Steam stuff, and you're like, oh, it's great that they're going out and getting all these different hardware providers to build all these Steam boxes and stuff, but you also see that as like the fault of 3DO and all these other later PC era type stuff where you have no consistency around kind of the
hardware
brand or something,
platform,
and it's
yeah.
like where I can agree with Norm and say, oh yeah, this would be perfect for me. I can build a PC. I can build exactly what I want, and it's going to work perfectly. I still don't see it being as easy. And you guys, even watching you guys just set it up here, it looks like a.
Well,
it
right
looks
now
like
it's
a
still
task.
beta.
This is the early adopter period. I would not
Yeah.
recommend
Yeah.
your nephew or anyone who is more comfortable in the console gaming world than haven't built a PC or used Linux. Now is not.
But
the
it's
time.
cool.
If you want to play Call of Duty, this is not the platform for you because it crashes the moment you try to launch it.
But you know what? Probably better investment that $150, $200 Steam box down the line than an Ouya.
Well,
That's true.
I mean,
Well,
come on.
that's easy.
I've
Well,
had
a lot of
meals
people-
that were a better long-term
A
investment
lot of people
than the Ouya.
thought that $100 was a great buy. Not so much.
Towerfall's pretty good, right? Towerfall. It's like Samurai Gun, but it's been out longer.
They're right. There's a sea change. People playing Minecraft, and you can play hardcore PC games, core PC games, your simulations and stuff on your desktop. But there are a lot of PC games that either on PC only or you can get them on PC that play better in the living room.
Yeah, I mean, all of the console ports that were designed to run on gamepads, assuming the games were ported well, work great in the living room. I've had an HDMI cable dragged in my living room for years now. I play, Saints Row, Oblivion from that generation on with on the big TV, and it's a fantastic experience.
I need the den atmosphere of PC gaming. I need to be smushed up against a.
You like a lean forward.
Yeah,
I like a lean back. I like
Yeah.
lean forward too, but
yeah.
lean forward for some stuff, lean back for other stuff. It's all good, man. Steam. The other thing is that Steam has gotten really huge. Like over the course of the 360 PS3 generation, Steam got enormous. We still don't know how enormous because there's no numbers on Steam game sales really. But judging by what like indie developers who come out and release games on XBLA and PSN and then roll them out on Steam and report 10 and 20 times greater sales, I have to assume that community of people who are coming to Steam looking for games has gotten enormous in the last 10
amazed
years.
they are a private company.
It's great. It means they can make
Yeah.
smart
It
decisions
is.
instead of shareholder-friendly decisions.
It's so crazy that to see a big company like that
It is-
that is
yeah.
building that way.
They go up and talk like, "Hey, Gabe, is it cool if we spend $300 million on this?" Sure, why not? Let's
So
do it.
remember
We can
when
afford
Steam
it.
came out and the huge backlash was, wow, you have to go register your games online,
yeah.
and every time you play your game, you have to go be connected to internet.
Well, but
And-
remember, if you think back to that time, the
And-
reason
and-
people
and
were upset is that every other time
understand.
somebody had tried that, it sucked. It was
So
bad.
What is the resistance because infrastructure wasn't there and implementation wasn't there? What is that resistance, the equivalent of that today? What is the idea that people are uncomfortable with because it hasn't been executed properly, or because people don't have enough foresight to realize that the infrastructure will be there in 3 years, in 4 years, in 5 years? That is going to be the next big sea change
Well, the Linux, you mean in games or just in general?
in games.
The Linux stuff. I think if Valve can get enough people using these Steam OS machines, then the big publishers will have no choice but to embrace Linux. That's the thing.
And I think they would want to if they could.
Why? It's more work. That work ain't free.
I doubt a lot of them want to. I mean, remember the people that are actually making the games are your tech savvy nerds. They're probably actually writing a lot of the software on Linux machines themselves.
Yeah, probably.
So I could see them a want to contribute to that community rather than being in the locked world that seems to them almost more console-y.
Well, and if you're the big publishers, I think you have to be worried about a future where Microsoft only allows applications from the Windows Store to run on Windows.
Yeah.
Right, because that means if Steam is running on that in that ecosystem, you're paying 30% to Valve and 30% to Microsoft, and where's your all of a sudden you're only making 40% on the sale instead of 60 or 70%.
Can you imagine like how hard that would be though? You would be like the most popular kid at a giant school where everybody knew you immediately. Like Valve going into the Linux world and being like, "Hey, we're here!" And then you got like every little fractured piece of the Linux world like jumping around, being like, "Valve, help us out!
It's like the Breakfast Club.
Come over here, buddy."
Well, you remember
or being really intimidated and like they're gonna ruin Linux.
Yeah. Why are these guys getting in here?
They're too cool for us.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember when
Posers.
when Source started and they released Linux versions of like the Team Fortress Classic and Day of Defeat and all the game servers, and the Linux community was like, "Well, fucking go pound sand. If you're not going to release clients that run on our system, we're not going to run your servers either." And then of course everybody ran the servers anyway. It didn't matter. But like, it's a tough tough community. And I don't know. I'm interested to see how
totally
this goes.
valid if Half-Life 3 is released Linux only.
Well, the other thing Valve could do if they want to speed Linux adoption is give the publishers a bigger cut on games that run on Linux. So if they say, "Look, we're going to take 30% to distribute on Steam for Windows games, we're only going to take 10% to distribute on Steam for Linux games for the next 2 years."
So then it would get the developers themselves trying.
So
to
then
push
the
it.
publishers are excited about it and will. I mean, that's how to make
That's
them
a
want to
decent
invest.
idea.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a business guy or a game developer or a game publisher. So what do I really know? But the OS is
You're
neat.
just a guy in front of a microphone.
Just a guy with a microphone and a camera. The once you get the machines and the systems installed, it's much more like usable than I expected. I expected, like, normally Linux beta is super duper beta, and this works pretty well. The streaming stuff is even okay if you have a decent gaming PC and a wired network. So it's Steam OS. Second rev I got the second rev of Google Glass. They finally sent that. It took 2 weeks to get over, but and I got a pair of the frames at the same time that I'm probably sending back. But we'll do a video with that. The new one's much faster, and the screen is much brighter compared to the old one. Is the first thing I noticed. The speaker is a lot louder too. And I got brown instead of orange this time.
Pictures still suck.
You know what? I haven't looked at them yet. I took a bunch of pictures day before yesterday, and I haven't looked at them on a real computer yet, so I don't really know. You can never tell with that little tiny screen though. But yeah, so I haven't had a chance to spend time with it because we went places yesterday that I couldn't wear glasses, couldn't wear the Project Glass. But we'll do something in the coming weeks.
Made an appearance in a Super Bowl.
Really?
One of the Seahawks players
Was wearing Google Glass?
in the celebration immediately after the game.
That is
As the Lombardi
ridiculous.
Trophy came by, he picked up the Lombardi Trophy and kissed it, and he's wearing Google Glass. Big moment.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm okay with that. I think that's I think I would love to see the video feed from that dude's perspective on the ground at the Super Bowl.
He is the perfect candidate.
Yeah, he's an interesting person doing interesting stuff.
What was the Catherine Bigelow movie? Strange Days.
Hurt Locker?
You remember
Oh.
Strange Days?
Kind of.
Where Ray Fiennes was wearing it was basically the same thing as Google Glass, except it played back in your head.
At night?
Oh, really?
No, so like if you did the Google Glass and it recorded all the video, but then you put that hardware back on your head, like on somebody else's head,
Oh,
they could
got it.
relive
It was
not only-
memories.
yeah, but your emotions and all these types of things. That's what I would want. I would want the emotions of the player. I would want to feel like the crazy heartbeat.
You were like so electrodes like stimulating your heart
Yeah.
beating faster,
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
sweating. Why do I feel so
Yeah,
great?
I'd like
I
to
just won the Super Bowl.
I'd love to be in shape. Like,
I don't know if they can make me
I feel like I can run really fast. Pictures look a little bit better. It's impossible to do A/B because they made me send the old ones back before they'd send the new ones. But the places where they would be oversaturated and janky on the old ones don't look as bad in the pictures I've shot so far. So we'll do some more testing and talk about it in the future. But if anybody has any questions about that stuff, post them in the comments.
$1,500.
They are definitely not worth $1,500, and it's still super weird to wear them in public. Like people you get the stink eye.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you feel like, it's funny. I didn't at first, but as they've rolled out to more people and the number of douchebags that have gotten them have just gone up. Like there was this thread on the private Project Glass Explorer forums detailing whether people thought like the fact that you could get prescription glasses on them made them ADA protected now, so that you could force your workplace to allow you to wear them there and bullshit and stuff like it's just entitled techno nutballs. It's really it's a bummer. So
Unity in the camp.
yeah,
There can't be any dissent among the explorers. If the explorers dissent, then you're never going to reach the new world.
Have either of you played Flappy Bird? It might be iOS only. Do you know what Flappy Bird is?
I can't believe all these games that you keep bringing up. Flappy Bird, kick the, what was it? Push the paper thing.
Paper toss. That's definitely on Android. Here you go, Dave. I want you to. We'll talk about the next subject, and you play some Flappy Bird. Let me know what you think. We'll do an instant review. Norm, I built a couch game controller prototype. I took wood scraps and glued them together and drilled some holes with Forstner. Keep playing. It gets better. You got to get past the holes. The Forstner bits. I used the Forstner bits that Adam recommended. I think you guys used. I went to Amazon and bought ones that were a 16-piece Forstner bit set. So I have 1 to 16th inch increments for the most part.
Okay. That's scary. Those are scary bits.
They are big fucking bits.
They're real scary.
And I was cutting into old dry ass plywood, so the wood was coming off in chunks, but the sides of the hole are perfectly smooth. So I was impressed.
Better than a spade bit.
Way better than a spade bit. That analog stick works pretty well. So we'll talk about more than that coming up. I'll probably do a story about that. I've got a couple more sets of sticks and buttons coming to test some different stuff.
Everything for Nidhogg.
And Samurai Gun, and maybe tennis and Bari Bari Ball and Hokra. Do we want to talk about how you doing on Flappy Bird, Dave?
Shut up. Damn it!
That's what seems about right.
No, I hate this. This is terrible.
How's your arcade cab coming? Are you guys making
staining.
progress? Still staining?
Still staining.
How many coats of stain are you doing?
Well, one side needs 2 coats and one side needs 1 coat, and then
What kind of stain?
Did you sand?
and then it needs sanding.
Yeah. Do you need to borrow an orbital sander or something so it doesn't take hours and hours?
Hand sanding.
What?
Jesus!
And then polyurethane, 2 coats.
A wipe-on poly or what kind of poly you got? Are you brushing it on?
It's brush on poly,
right.
and which needs to be sanded also between coats.
Yeah.
Using a sponge? Little sponge brush?
You should really buy
You
a
should
belt
be using
sander.
a sponge brush.
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Don't use
Horsehair.
sponge. The hair will make it much harder to sand. Right?
It also won't be even.
Yeah.
You either want to use a rag or a sponge.
for the poly.
Yeah, sponge.
Yeah.
You get those little 99-cent sponge brush
That's
things.
cheap then.
Yeah.
Are you going to wax
No.
the outside of the poly and protect it better?
You don't need that. You do that if you tongue oil or something. If
Well,
you put a poly, that's all you need.
Really?
Yeah.
I always like to put wax on too.
Nah, you do that if you just do like a plain, just a plain stain.
Wood control panel.
Everything's wood.
Everything's wood.
Yeah.
No acrylic or plastic or Lexan or anything. Okay.
Nope.
Alrighty, well, keep us posted. If you want to borrow an orbital sander, or you should maybe get a belt sander for the amount of stuff that has to be sanded. It is a lot of sanding to do by hand.
Yep.
An orbital sander will do that in about, what, 1/10 of the time, probably?
Much faster than that.
Yeah,
and it'll
and-
be a lot better.
And a belt sander will be even faster than that.
Belt sander's scary.
Why? Get your finger stuck in there?
I mean, you don't really need a belt sander for something like that.
It's a lot. Those sides are a lot of surface.
Yeah, but a orbital sander.
Okay, fair enough. I am not a fan of sanding. It's my least favorite part of woodworking.
I'm not a fan of the dust that comes out of sanding, but the act of sanding, it's fine for me.
I listened to like 20 hours of podcasts while I sanded the 160 feet of board feet of shelves that I made for my daughter's Tetris shelves. It took a long time. And I also, about midway through, I realized that I didn't have the shop vac on for the first half of the sanding. So the dust in the garage is reached a real relationship damaging level, because it's also our laundry room. So I had to do some dusting after that was done. It was great. Sanding, great. Dave, you finished a project a few weeks ago.
I did.
Made a toy chest.
I made a, yeah. I've been doing some woodworking. I made a toy chest, made a router table, and made a Alfie table, made some frames, picture frames.
I've never used a router really before.
So routers
Scary
are
business.
fun. You either, you hold them or you plunge them. So a plunge-based router is one that you'll hold and like put into the middle
Mount on
of
the table.
something.
Okay.
Where a regular, just a regular fixed-base router, you'd run along the side, the edge of a table or something.
Okay. It's like to make a curved edge on a table on a board. Okay.
And if you want to make a picture frame or something like that, you would take the fixed side of the router and attach it to the bottom of a table so that the router's underneath and the bit points up. And then you run your wood over the top of it.
You put your hand on top
it
of the
or
wood,
or
right?
The side.
Normally you should make a fence system so that it's basically a fence that goes along this circle opening where the bit is, and then you're running it over just either the half or the part that you need.
And you use different bits to get different like curves and cuts. And all that
everything's
stuff, right?
routed.
Okay.
When you start looking around, you're like, all these frames and all that kind of stuff. So
Is it kind of like a mill, but without all the XYZ stuff? Is that what you're looking at?
it is. There are different bits that just give you a different kind of style. So a round over bit will just give you like a round over to the thing, or you could do little fluting. Anytime you see fluting in wood, that's where you'll get it.
We when we shot The Inventor and stuff, we went to an awesome wood shop where the guy who owns it only does trim. Mm-hmm. Like he's a trim shop, so he does trim for old Victorian and Edwardian houses in San Francisco, and he has all these cool like curve routers, so he could take a piece of curved molding and or curved piece of wood, and then do the exact match exactly the trim
they make
that's in
a
the
little
150-year-old house.
they'll make a little blade
like
that'll just fit specifically for the
it's like laser
against
cut.
the old trim, and then they can rebuild it.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's wild. It's also scary, as you use that kind of stuff, because you're passing your hand over the bit, which you're not. But
you're
normally
supposed to feed.
You want to use like a push block or something along those lines.
Don't push your hand over the bed.
Yeah, it's been fun. The cool part is I've been trying to do everything where rather than buy a router table, I'll just build the table. So that way you use the router to build the router table, because you got to build the center stuff out. So it's been a nice little learning process.
And can you just plunge the bit into whatever you're cutting, or do you have to come in from an edge?
It depends. They have plunge bases which help that, which is it starts up above the the surface that you're putting, and then you can slowly sort of drop it in there.
Interesting.
I think the coolest thing that I've learned from that stuff has been just how far we've gotten with teaching things online.
Because you learned it all with YouTube.
I did everything through YouTube.
When I was learning how to do biscuit joins and all that stuff, I learned all that on YouTube.
And I'm very worried about hurting myself or doing all those types of things. But I probably spent 20 hours just watching like safety videos, and I felt I had a really good understanding and of all that kind of stuff. And you find these guys that are just experts, and they run their little channels, and it's been great.
The thing Adam said about safety stuff, which seems true to me, is that as long as you have a healthy fear of everything and just pay attention all the time, and you're aware of how, like, if you know the ways that a table saw can hurt you, then it's pretty easy to not put yourself in a situation that a table saw can hurt you. You never lean over the blade. You never put yourself on either end of the board. You never,
Yeah, the things that I learned from that stuff was I went into it with no knowledge, and I thought I was just going to rip a finger off.
Yeah.
Where then you go and you learn that kickback, is the bigger problem, which is just the board that's on the saw hitting the back end of the saw and then flying up
flipping up
from it, and it basically shoots a board out like a bullet.
Yeah.
It could impale you. It could, just knock you the fuck out.
Right. You lose an eye.
yeah,
There's all sorts of
pressure.
bad stuff.
Apply
Super
pressure.
interesting,
Yeah. Put a triangular bandage on.
but fun. It's fun to make things.
Making stuff is very satisfying.
I'd miss that stuff, and you guys always got to do it. And so, I don't know.
We usually make stupid stuff though, like potato batteries. And,
No, but-
nonsense.
It's super fun. Like, you get a good feeling out of yourself when you can point at something, especially for an internet nerd like me. Build tissue paper. Like, hey, remember I designed
Yeah.
your website however many years ago?
Yeah, that was
Looks
like 3 designs
Yeah,
ago.
looks nothing like it now.
Yeah.
None of the code's there. Like, spent so much time on that code so that it could live for 18 months.
Hey, we made it 2 years. 3,
Yeah.
almost 3. What do you think about Flappy Bird? Pro, con?
I don't.
I think it's for people who are bad.
No, I don't.
It's not a good game.
Yeah, I'm not.
I got to 9 and realized that I was
And
wasting
I
my
saw
life.
Mario pipes.
They are Mario pipes. Yeah.
It's basically like it's one of the flying fish from Mario.
So you play a flying fish, and you have to navigate a series of tight corners with a poorly controlled bird. Like he flaps in a real harsh arc, and you have to time it pretty much perfectly to swoop through the
I don't like
the
any
barrel gaps.
game where I'm just continually tapping. I feel like a hamster.
Tap, tap, tap.
Like, give
Hit
me
the
my
Skinner
money.
You're the
machine.
bird. You're
Yeah.
the water bird.
It's drinking
Yeah,
the water.
exactly. See, just that movement that you're making is
I left you in charge.
throwing me off.
Anything else, Norm? On what you've been testing?
Getting some stuff in. Fitbit's coming. LG Flex is coming.
What's the LG Flex?
The Curve smartphone from CES.
Oh, right. Okay, so I guess that'll do it for us. Let's take a few questions, and we will call it a show.
Emails?
Well, but we do the other one.
Email.
'Cause it's, we don't do emails. We do
Emails?
No.
Questions?
Boom.
If you have a question for This Is Only Test, the email address is podcast@tested.com. We just did an Adam Q&A podcast, so we have a lot of Adam questions, not a whole lot of This Is Only a Test questions. So if you'd like to send some in, now's the time, and we will definitely read them next week.
Also, send in your Jamie questions because we will be doing an
Oh, that's
AMA with Jamie next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific
That'll be on Reddit, though.
through Reddit. But
Yeah.
send us questions too.
Yeah, we might be doing something else afterwards. First question comes from Scott. He says, "Greetings, tested peoples. I've been playing some Virtual Console on Wii U lately, and there's a pretty noticeable input lag when using a TV or the gamepad. Do you think flat panel televisions will ever reach the same response time as old CRTs? I mean, John Carmack has been fighting this for years. Is there no hope? Always keep testing." What do you think about input lag, Norm?
I don't have a Wii U. For flat panels, I think it's to a point where I don't notice it.
That's kind of where I've reached.
So I don't know if it's a priority for panel makers.
This is the part where Dave says, "I actually still have old 24-inch Sony Trinitron on my desk at home because I can't handle input lag."
No, this is where I say I just lean in.
You lean
Yeah,
forward,
that's
get
all I'm
closer.
doing. Yeah.
If you decrease the distance between your eyeballs and the screen, the light has to travel less far. I can see that. I think that the panels will eventually reach a point where they have CRT parity. Maybe when we're all using OLED panels 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, or however long in the future it is. But gated LCD technology has peaked at this point. Our next question comes from Neil Castle wants to know, "Dear Will, Norm, and Dave, I've recently found myself in possession of my own apartment for the first time, having previously cohabitated with friends or partners. I'm now in a position to start an arcade cabinet collection, but would like to seed it with 2 cabinets of my own creation, one for Nidhogg and one for Spelunky. In the most recent Giant Bombcast, Will mentioned he was doing something similar. I wonder what 6 buttons I should be looking at purchasing for use with a PC running either of these titles. Always be testing." I got an Ultimark ULTIMARC Ultra Stick 360, which is something you should never ever buy if you want to play arcade games, because it's an analog arcade stick, which means it works like the gamepad stick on an Xbox or PS3 gamepad. You can they make this because they let you program it with software to have different response patterns that allow it to mimic 4 to 8-way sticks that you would normally use in an arcade machine. But it's much better to just get sticks that have mechanical gates that you can switch so they go between 4 and 8-way mode or 4 and 2-way mode, whatever it is you need. I can't imagine that this is a good experience for that, but it works great for games that normally have analog control. We tested it. I've had 4 or 5 people play it now. One of team webhook played last night.
I refused to use it.
Why?
Well, I did because I was worried because we had younger guys.
You thought it
playing
was going to
with us.
impact your performance.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to keep the ringer player in.
You wanted to hurt him as much as
Yeah.
possible. It did not seem to impact him that much.
Yeah.
By the end of the game, he was
seemed
still
to like
dominating.
it. Seemed to like it.
It's very satisfying.
Yeah.
You can, when you get frustrated in one of those games.
What I like about yours is that you built it basically to put over your lap when you're sitting on a couch.
Well, it's just
Was
a
that
test.
intentional?
It's just to test configurations. It's actually at the right height to put it on like a TV tray or a small table and stand in front of a TV.
I think you should put like velvet pillows underneath it, so then
Or
you
just
can,
the holes.
Yeah,
Like
so
the-
it can just be like one of those bad laptop
Oh,
boards. You know,
I love a lap board.
Yeah.
This is going to go in a cabinet. This is just to test button layouts
I
and
think
stuff.
you're overthinking it, man.
You think I just need to have
Lock
this
your
and some
legs
long
in.
USB cables?
Yes.
That's one way to do it, I guess.
Then you can play it. Then you don't need to have the cabinet. Where are you going to put the cabinet?
It's gonna where
You don't
where-
have a new
You
apartment.
know where your desk is. That's where the cabinet is. We're gonna scoot you over off to the left a little
okay.
bit.
All right.
You have to walk around the long way now and climb over some chairs.
That makes sense.
But yeah,
I trip over something at least 7 times a day in this office.
there's a lot of cables. We have a lot of loose cables. We should really have one of those subflooring things, so the cables can all run under that. But that seems like it'd be a big problem, big hassle. For buttons, I'm still testing buttons. I started out using just normal HAP, US style arcade buttons. I think that they take too long to press. Like the throw on them is too long. I think I probably want a shorter button. So what you guys are using Japanese style? Both. Which of the Japanese buttons did you end up buying? The Sanwa?
Yes. It is absolutely the Sanwa.
So the Sanwa, the only problem with them is that they're thin and they click into place. The HAP buttons have a really long shaft. So you can put them through a thick piece of wood and still fasten them correctly. The Sanwa buttons are snap into place, so you need to have them. They almost need to snap into like a thin sheet of metal or Lexan or something like that.
I'm looking up exactly.
Are they
which
cheap
ones I
enough you
bought.
can just mix and match? You just pick them all up, check out which ones you like.
The buttons are pretty cheap unless you get lighted ones or something fancy. The sticks are kind of expensive. The joysticks are about $60 each plus accessories. I'm still the stick that I ended up getting.
You buy the ball as well.
I haven't. No, it's a different. I have to get a different shaft and ball if I want the ball. The ball head sticks. Are you guys doing paddle sticks or ball sticks?
Ball sticks.
Because it's Japanese. So I have ball sticks coming. So the difference is, the ball sticks are the ones with the big knob on top. The paddle ones have kind of it's a more fluted looking thing. The stick that I got for this also has a short handle option and a long handle option, as well as different strength springs that you can put in to make it more or less tense. I'm kind of thinking that the long handle with the more tense springs is going to be a better experience, but I don't have a way. I haven't tested
So
it.
sorry, I got the Saimitsu buttons.
Oh, you got those are expensive.
Those are $325 each.
Yeah, you can get a 6-pack of the Sanwa buttons for $15 on Amazon. Shipped.
Saimitsu screw buttons and Focus Attack is the website I got them from.
Are they long, the screw buttons? Is it long enough to go through a 1/4-inch sheet of plywood?
1/4 inch? Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I would do is
Not
I would
half,
make
though.
one of these things to make a Major Havoc arcade
Okay.
base, because there were
What's
two.
Major Havoc?
So Major Havoc was, I don't know, early 80s game where it was fun. You had 2 bits to it. One was like fighting in the starship, and you would move left to right and shoot. And then you would land on the enemy ship or the enemy base as an astronaut. This was the second part of the game. And then you would move through this maze-like thing. You'd have to, destroy the ship or whatever, get oxygen. There was oxygen that was always going down while you were in this maze-like thing.
Okay.
And all you could do was jump, and you had like really low gravity and move. And the way that the game moved was you would use normally like a trackball, but there's one version of the game where it's a cylinder, because the only movement is left and right.
You mean like a spinner?
Like no,
Like
it's
Tempest.
a cylinder.
Oh.
Like a
so it's like a
actual-
1-axis trackball.
Yes,
That's
it's a
amazing.
cylinder, right? So I love playing that version, and that version sometimes shows up at California Extreme, sometimes does not. I don't know if that's like the regular version of Major Havoc, but I have always wanted one of those, and that to me would be worthwhile to build one of these separate systems. And I think that's the draw to it, is that you want to build what you want, right, Norm?
Modular.
Yeah.
Modular.
Yeah. So, well, and the thing, yeah, like my feeling on MAME cabinets in general, I like that he's going to build 2 cabinets, one for for games that are dedicated to those games. Because the thing that I don't like about most people, not most people, but a lot of MAME machines is that you're like, okay, I like these 20 games, and you end up with these weird hodgepodge control boards that have like 65 different controllers on them, and there's a trackball there, and there's a spinner, and there's like a weird Tron joystick with a trigger, and there's a throttle on the side because sometimes you like to play Afterburner, and
The
after
T2 guns are sitting up there at the top,
and there's
with
a
the red button on the side.
and you can pull out a thing and clamp on a pole position wheel.
Yeah.
Like don't do that. Just make like build a game to play. If you like Street Fighter, do your thing for Street Fighter, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm thinking this is like a Nidhogg Samurai Gun, Super Sports Friends kind of machine. That's like four games probably, and then a simple UI to switch between them. But I like the idea of a dedicated Spelunky machine. That seems pretty awesome. 6 buttons. I think you need 6 buttons for Spelunky. So the thing I would advise is to sit down and really do some intense thinking while you're playing and look at the way the button layouts work and like what you actually like, which buttons you need to be able to press at the same time, which ones you don't, what you need to get in and out of the game if you're going to do that, and go from there. So yeah, that's arcade stuff. When do you think you guys are going to be done with your machine, Norm?
No idea.
Indefinite future?
To be determined.
Lots of sanding, apparently.
Yeah, you guys are going to be sanding for weeks.
Weekend projects.
So I guess that'll do it for us today. Dave Snyder, where can people find you?
I am Enemy Kite on the Twitters.
And you
Find me there, and I'm building Webhook, which you just go to webhook.com. You want to see my new
it's
thing.
a content management system that doesn't have a database.
It's crazy.
Is that your logo?
It's our logo. We got stickers, and they were too small.
Oh,
I was too dumb. I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, I know the size of a round sticker.
You're a designer. You should know that that's too small a sticker.
Why is that too small?
Well,
It's
I
just
wanted
cover
like
the
I
Apple
wanted
logo?
I wanted like a big sticker.
I like
but
this.
it's
I like
fine.
the small stickers.
It's fine. It's cool.
It kind of looks like Westinghouse.
People tell me that, but Westinghouse looks like a crown, and I don't care. I'm hip to the old. We talked about logos at the Oktobercast.
Yeah.
I remember, and I'm terrible at them. And this time, I just
I don't
wanted
think that's
one
true.
to just be iconic, black and white. I didn't want anything to it.
From watching, have you watched Mad Men?
I have.
So from watching Mad Men, I've kind of separated logos and advertising into pre what I think of in my head. I know it's not really true, but pre Mad Men and post Mad Men advertising world, where the pre Mad Men world is stuff like Standard Oil and the old brands, and then the post Mad Men is the stuff that's like the weird mashup names like Exxon or Esso that came from whatever the 2 oil companies were, and all that business.
Pre-Saul Bass, after Saul Bass.
That's
Yeah.
a different show, but yeah,
Yes, you are. That's
it.
more. Yeah.
Yeah. Better Call Saul. I think I like a lot of I think it's time for those logos to come back. Those old logos to come back. The lots of like thin wireframe.
I'm just tired. I can't think up characters and things. I don't want. I just want. Here, it's a W.
If it's a webhook, it could be like a guy. He's fishing, maybe.
Pirates.
Pirates
You
are good.
Yeah, you can have all these types
Avast.
of things.
Avast is already taken its antivirus, but you could. I'm sure no confusion there. So yeah, people want to know more. Webhook.com.
That's where you go.
Okay. Norman Chan, there's a bunch of good stuff on the site today. I know. Sean Charlesworth, who was the inventor and season 1 winner. Are we doing seasons or cycles?
To be determined.
Okay.
It's a good pause in that one.
He is writing about 3D printing for us and has a good how-to on the site today. There's a bunch of other cool stuff. Alex Castle, who built our MAME cabinet at Maximum PC, did a Arduino thing earlier this week.
Electrical engineering.
It's
circuits.
It's like circuit design. It's the part of doing shit with Arduino that I always have to cheat by just going online and finding somebody who's done the thing that I wanted to do and then figuring out why it worked rather than knowing how to make it work from scratch in the beginning. And then other stuff on the site too. We will be back next Thursday with another edition of This Is Only a Test. Dave Snyder, thanks for coming by.
Always.
Doesn't count as 200.
This is 200th podcast.
199.
Remember,
A.
what is it? February 4th?
February 5th.
I thought it was 4th. For
6th.
Yeah.
Today's the 6th.
No, for your Flickr.
Flickr.
Your Flickr
Facebook was
Facebook.
created on February 4th, 2014.
So
Launched
you got 3 days.
on February 4th, 2013.
Is not good.
Flickr.
Not good.
Find out
after
later.
that.
Premium content. If you would like to become a premium member of Tested, we have a bunch of awesome premium content. We built SteamOS machines. You can see the video about SteamOS on the site right now. But you can also watch us build. Norm and I build those machines if you're a premium member. We sit and talk about the machines we're building and nonsense for what, my machine took maybe 5 minutes to build. Yours was a little bit longer than that. But we kind of run down the whys of why we picked hardware and also what we thought about SteamOS at that time, which was last week. Did we shoot that last week? Week before.
I got 30-year-old gum. I'm going to chew that sometime.
You're going to chew that 30. Where'd you get 30-year-old gum?
Reader sent it over.
What kind of cards is it in?
Alf.
There's Alf. There's Return of the Jedi.
Dude, Alf is totally coming back.
It's 83.
Alf was in a Radio Shack ad during the Super Bowl.
For an 80s revival.
But he's also back in ad form.
Was it the real voice of Alf?
Yeah, I don't know who the real voice of Alf was. But there was a cat joke. They were like, it's
Yeah.
a food channel.
Yeah.
It's great. We'll see you guys next week. Today's outro comes to us from 333. It's part of the massive dump of outros he sent in last week. Here we go. Hi there, I didn't see you.
Tested.
I'm not sure if aspect is the way people like to describe stuffing, but it is effective.
But butt stuffing is the best stuffing, Adam. It was amazing.
Tested.
That was in the context of Thanksgiving.